when I heard I remember in the Mishpacha magazine article they came out with, she spoke with Avi Rottenberg about like what it was like to work on the Midos machine, and he said in the article like he said yeah, like we remember we sat down the two older Yes Boys, which was me and my older brother, together to give them like as our test subjects to listen to the album, and we they seemed to entertain for a while, and then all of a sudden, like they broke out in a fight during a song called "Shalom is Peace." So we realized that we had to gauge our expectations on the effectiveness of this album on kids. But the reality is, like, it was still like some of these songs were so iconic that I remember, like, if I went to
Yeah.
like a group of 30 somethings a few years ago at a private concert in someone's house, and broke out into like who spilled the milk on the kitchen floor? Everybody's like, "Oh my God, I haven't heard this song since I was a kid." Like everybody knows them. We grew up on this stuff. This was like the bread and
I
butter
gotta
of kids'
send you it,
entertainment.
but we have I have a friend that knows someone that made a remix. I don't know if you heard it. It's like a little 1 minute remix of the "Who Spilled the Milk Kitchen Floor," and it's like a dance track. I really need to show it to you. It's
Oh
like
no, I never heard that. I'd like to hear that.
I
Very
use
cool.
it for the kids in LEC. Like they literally like
Very
because
nice.
they grew up with the tape, yeah. And then when you have like something to get them hyped, especially when you're dealing with like hundreds of kids, so like you put it on and they really like it. So I have to send it to you.
Yeah, kids
Um,
still like it. I mean, kids. My son, who's like my youngest son, who's like 2 years old, 2.5. I was playing the Midos machine for him, and he also like they take to it. It's
yeah,
like very relatable.
it never gets old. It ages so well. And by the way,
Timeless.
I heard mechanechim, um, because I'm in school, so in program director in school, so I hear like teachers mechanechim saying like they would it because it's not necessarily like Hasidic things. They're just simple midas type of lessons, and so like
Yeah.
but for some reason they all
It's
say that
good old fashioned
are
Judaism.
right, and they all say that literally the mouse moves machine is by far still much better than. Not saying again, nothing against what people do nowadays. Art is art, and I love story tapes that are done nowadays and olden days. But especially mouse moves machine, it captivates something in the kids where it never gets old. Every kid
Yeah.
approaches it in a very unique way, unlike things that may age old or things that are newer. And I hear a lot of mechanics say that they'll pick that story tape over all other type of
Yeah, it was
basic Judaism
also, I
story
mean,
tapes.
in its type of thing, like many people that I've spoken with have said it's a kind of like because at one point I entertained the idea of doing like a kids tape with a few other people I knew. I actually started on it and then I moved from Canada and like it just flopped and like I dropped the ball and like we all got busier lives, kids growing up and like this never really got completed or it never even took off fully on the production side, and let alone the distribution or anything like that. But this one of the people was telling me like, it's like the Midas machine. If we look at it as like this a prototype of like the perfect balance of storytelling and music and everything, it became like this
Yeah,
archetype in a way, like an archetypal kids educational album,
yeah,
which had this timelessness to it. It's a classic, timeless album that it will be relevant, 200 years from now, God willing.
right.
Interestingly, a lot of the stuff that they were talking about back then were so futuristic, like that we couldn't even think about it. Like a time machine, or like a satellite with the spaceships in outer space and things like that. And like people weren't even doing that kind of stuff. But now there's actually people doing that. The idea that you can broadcast audio to anywhere else in the world that wasn't an option back then, really. Like
Yeah,
now you have cell phones, you have satellite, you have satellite internet, you have even like the concept of like the amazing tour bike, like an artificially intelligent powered bike. Like
yeah,
who even knew what AI was? I even know my father knew what AI was back then, but he was very like high tech in his stuff. Like he liked technology. He had like he was also a big like ham radio operator. Like he used to have like a shortwave radio, like a big military
yeah.
grade one in the house, and he'd listen to it all day. And not all day, like he listened to it a lot. And then he had a big thing for like things that were just like emerging. like emerging technologies. But
Yeah.
some of these things I don't even understand how we understood like what they were. And
Yeah,
robots and
and by the way,
AI.
a proof to that is because the Mouse Machine 4, it's amazing, by the way. I love the songs because you can't go
Oh,
wrong
they're
with Amy
great.
Romberg, Shlomo Simcha.
Yeah,
But I think it did miss that futuristic, like a kid's imagination in a story.
yeah,
Like it didn't have like it kind of like continued from where it left off, but it never like went off on more
yeah.
than like the idea of like what's next, what's in 10 years. Like I don't know how this works, but let's just do it. But
Yeah, it's
and I
great.
think it
And you know how
really,
many times, parents nowadays when one kid is like, upset that the other kid got something like, Yankee got a bigger piece. I can't. Everybody does it. My mother did it to us. Like we all get it. We have these little sound bites that we can throw out at our own kids that we're being recycled from our own parents using them today, and like it's great. Like I use them with my kids, and they just smile at me and smirk like, okay, like they get it. But maybe it's time to do some of that.